Hello everybody, welcome to another Brody's UK video. It's me, Sam. Doing something a bit different today, as you can probably see from the rather nice Luna desktop that you're currently seeing on your screen. So what I want to do, I want to go through some rather interesting information. For anybody who isn't aware, there has been some G6 leaks over the last several months. I wasn't aware of this. I've only recently found out, so I'm going to go through the information I found with you all and see where it takes us. Basically, at the moment, it's looking like this information shouldn't have been leaked because, from what I've been able to find out, a lot of it was on Equestria Daily at one point, but then Hasbro and affiliates asked it to be removed. Now, just quickly going to bring up something on here. I completely forgot to bring it up. Little sticky notes here. So, for anyone that can see this right here, we've got a few interesting things to mention. We've got something that's been referred to as the Ponyverse, and another thing that's been called the Camp Cutie Mark. Again, looking at possible other variants for Friendship is Magic, G4. As for G6, whether or not these were meant to be G6, we don't fully know. So, we've got some pony stuff there as well. I'm looking into that later. So, I want to start with this rather interesting little screenshot that is on a website called mlpforums.com. And we've got the following screenshot here stating, so it seems there's been a leaked maybe cancelled G4 or G5 crossover replacement series initially planned for next, I would assume that was next year, 2025. There's then this little message attached to it that I'm assuming has been sent from affiliates with Hasbro. Hi there, writing to ask you a favour on behalf of the My Little Pony brand. We love your enthusiasm, but this information was highly confidential, not ready for prime time. We share MLP updates with you as soon as we have it, but kindly ask you to take this down ASAP. Thank you. Right, so, and bringing it over here, this is the image. So you see there and there. So, apparently, this image, it's interestingly that it's still showing up on DeviantArt and hasn't been removed yet. Apparently this is leaked artwork from a series that apparently was going to be, it was either going to be called Ponyverse or Camp Cutie Mark. Apparently there's two potential series that were in development and may now no longer be in development, or possibly are just on hiatus, we don't know. So this bit of artwork, from what I can gather, is an official leak that shouldn't have been leaked. So, as you can tell, we've got Misty, Twilight, Pinky, and a Rainbow Dash here. And then in this little picture, we've got obviously some different characters. I mean, we've got what looks like Twilight there. And then we've got a mum. Looks like she's giving her a hug. Can I zoom in any more on this? No, I can't. So we've got Twilight's mum, and assuming that could be a dad. And then we've got Alphabettle there with... her name's just gone completely out of my head. Misty. Giving Misty a bit of a hug. And we've definitely got a kind of camp vibe there. See, we've got Pinkie Pie at the back there. Maybe that's her mum. Rainbow Dash's parents there. And again, this is apparently what was going to be dubbed as Camp Cutie Mark. So, well, I don't think, apparently this is apparently being cancelled or is on hiatus. But apparently this was some kind of series involving, I don't know if we could class it as a crossover or part of this Ponyverse idea. But Camp Cutie Mark was apparently a in production at some point show that was apparently going to be made, or may still be made, who knows. But we're looking at a possible series involving a crossover of Gen 4 and Gen 5 characters in a sort of summer camp setting. Obviously, as you pointed out here, we've definitely got the whole, they're off, you know, you've got Rainbow Dash her parents, Twilight's parents, I'm assuming Pinkie Pie and her mum, obviously Alphabettle, who we know is Misty's dad. Then we've got these three ponies here, who don't seem to show up. Ah, no wait, they do. Two of them are there, look, and causing Pinkie to trip and get a pie in Twilight's face. So what are we looking at, you know, the bullies of the camp? Again, I'm speculating on this because although I do know this is a leaked picture that has been asked to be taken down, I'm actually still surprised it's still showing on DeviantArt, and I know this is at least 6 or 7 months old, this picture, that it was first leaked. So, you know, we've still got this to go in. So we've obviously got this scene here, which very much looks like arriving at the camp dorm, settling in, Misty looking a bit nervous, a bit shy, you know, sort of. I'm kind of going with this this whole concept with this image that Twilight, Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie there are already probably friends, and in this scenario Misty's the new girl, she's like the new character who's going to be introduced and become friends with them. Because then later on we've got this image which shows Misty clearly upset, Rainbow angry about something, Pinkie looking worried, Twilight probably trying to console Misty. Again, I appreciate that this image is not a lot to go on. It is a leaked image, and as we suggested in this image here, it was asked to be removed, and this particular bit, as you can see, was from Twitter. So we know that it was indeed a potential leak. There's now this next image I just want to bring up. This is apparently... Now, this is where things get a little bit kind of interesting. Apparently, this image, as we can see, has Twilight, Rainbow Dash, Pinkie Pie, Sunny, Misty, and oh god, her name's going right out of my head now. Pip. Yeah, Pip Petals. That was it. That's the thing now. So we've got all these characters here. Apparently, this image is supposedly concept art for what is being dubbed as the Ponyverse, which is apparently going to be some sort of spin-off series which will show G4, G5 characters together in a setting of some kind. Now, neither of these series that we've talked about are potentially G6. Supposedly G6 is something else entirely. There's a few other things to mention. Again, this again shows up on Reddit. Just a few people talking about it. This was all within the last 8 months, as you can tell on the timestamps. So, based off this, that we know. Oh, and a quick shout out, everybody, to the Wildcard. I came across this video earlier. He actually talks about the leaks, and so that's worth watching. So watch Mlp G6 Leaks are insane from the Wildcard if you want any more information. But sort of back to this, in a way, this could well be just early concept art. Obviously, we're looking at this potentially as being concept art. I mean, to be honest, if this hadn't already been confirmed to be leaked concept art, then I would just think this was a bit of fan art that someone had put together. But since we know it's concept art, we can, as I said, as we've gone through, we can guarantee we get a bit more information off it. I mean, if we're looking at a potential another Equestria setting, obviously, I am kind of curious about these three characters, because obviously we're looking at, you know, I'm assuming they're like the bully, as I said, the bullies of the group. Now, obviously, originally I would have thought this character was the mother of these two, but she's right there with said pony here. So these three are obviously separate characters. And then, just looking at the genuine layout of it, it has a very cartoonish style. Like, it's not quite the style we'll be used to from G4, from Friendship is Magic, from G5. Obviously, G5 being computer animated. If this is what we're potentially going to be looking at for a future series, it's definitely got a very almost kind of cartoony vibe to it. I mean, this picture here, that almost reminds me of like Looney Tunes style of animation. So depending on whether, of course, it does depend whether or not this series is even going to happen. I mean, the information I'm running off is very limited. It's not 100%. It's just from what I've gathered over the last few days. But yeah, that is ultimately potentially what we're looking at for the future of MLP. And then just going back to this, now this is something I want to sort of point out. If anybody remembers the early G5 leaks, the artwork that basically had a very similar look to this, that turned out to be, well, it did turn out to be early G5 concept art, because it featured all the main six from G4 but different. You know, for example, Twilight was an Earth pony, Floodshy was a Pegasus. It featured different in different ways, and it was confirmed that was early concept art. So we could be looking at, again, early concept art for another series. Now, I know from Wildcard's video here that this artwork could be leaked for the series what is referred to as Ponyverse. Now, whatever little information we had on Ponyverse from what Wildcard said, it was potentially going to be a series where they were crossing over G4 and G5 together. That's all that's known. Apparently this series isn't going to happen anymore. There's not much else I could really talk about ultimately in this video. As I said, we're just going on pure speculation at this point. But all I do know is that this image is definitely something that was leaked, that wasn't supposed to be leaked, as we can go from this screenshot. As we stated, it was on Twitter, this was leaked, and then however long after that, they were asked to remove it, and I just noticed he said no on there. But yeah, so we know that this was potentially a leak, and apparently both this image and this image were both on Equestria Daily, and Equestria Daily was asked to remove them. So it's kind of interesting that, like 7 months ago we had these leaks, and I still find it interesting that this is on DeviantArt, but generally hasn't been removed. 2 ticks. Let's have a look here. I just want to minimize. No, that brought us over to a different thing completely. Here we go. I wanted to move down. Silly me. So what's it say here? I don't know if anyone has heard the news lately, but apparently there is a rumour that Hasbro is going to be making Mlp G6. Of what I've seen, it looks like that it has Misty Twilight, Pinky, Rainbow Dash, but for some reason their Q marks are gone, and but their families have them. So it seems that they're teenagers going to camp. I mean, honestly interested to see how G6 will go if this does actually happen, which I'm hoping for G6 to be real, but until then it's just a rumour. Thought I'd share. By the way, the rumour says these are image leaks for the new generation. Yeah, I did actually notice they didn't have. I failed to notice that they had their cutie marks missing. Didn't realise that. But yeah, there's not much more I could say. As I said, this is possible leak information for G6 or whatever the equivalent will be by the Ponyverse Camp Cutie Mark. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and have a great day. Thank you. Peace out.